Today's video, I want to talk to you about some frustrating things and some tips on how you can deal with getting your mail, some other tips when you decide to become an expat, travel the world, move overseas, become a full-time RVer. There's a couple things I want to briefly touch on before I get into the tips and the frustrations I've been dealing with, and so I can help you out. First thing is domicile. Now, if you're considering selling your home, moving out of your apartment, traveling the world, whatever, your domicile is where you're going to be paying taxes. So if you're currently in a state that has a state income tax, consider moving to another state, become a resident of that state in order to save on income taxes. This video is not about that. There's plenty of other videos out there on how to get a domicile. That's not the point. Also, getting your mail, this video is not about comparing mail forwarding companies, details about how getting your mail. There's plenty of other videos on how to do that. What I want to specifically talk about today is some tips. Number one, if you decide, hey, I'm selling my house, moving out of the apartment, traveling the world, moving overseas, becoming an RVer, whatever your situation is, most people, what they do, and what I've done for the past 3 years, is use a mail forwarding company. I've been using this mail forwarding company for the past 3 years out of Texas. Briefly, the way it works is every week they send me an email, and with the email, they scan the mail, and they ask me, do I want to keep it, basically hold it, shred it, or forward the mail. Some weeks I don't get any mail, and they just say, no mail scan today, no big deal. The reality is most people don't get a whole lot of mail these days, so it's not a big deal. But most of the mail forwarding companies have commercial addresses. Whatever the address is, but it's a commercial address. And the number one tip I can give you is before you decide to move, open up any bank account you want or think you'll need, credit card, get any credit cards you think you're going to need or want, and brokerage accounts like with Fidelity and Schwab, and specifically I've had issues with them on this topic. So get all that stuff taken care of before you move. The reason being is when you try to open up a bank account, a brokerage account, the system flags that address as a commercial address. And I've had this issue a couple years ago with Schwab. I just had this issue today with Fidelity. I've had 2 accounts with Fidelity for a long time. And I decided to open up another account, and same address. I changed my former house address to my mail forwarding address and had no problems with it. They've had no problems with it since. But they flagged it and said, oh, sorry. And I called them. I said, what's the matter? She said, well, it's not a residential address. And we either need a copy of your mortgage statement or utility bill. I said, hypothetically, what if somebody decided, say, they decide they want to sell their home or move out of the apartment and travel in their RV full time. They're still, they're still a citizen of the United States, but they decide they don't want to have a permanent residence. They want to just see the world or whatever. And the answer I got today, and I got before with Schwab, is, sorry, we have to have a residential address. That's just their policy. And so in this case, I'm going to use my son's address, which is a residential address. So you will, I don't care whatever service you use, there's probably going to be a chance in the future where they will flag your account and say, oh, sorry, it's a commercial address. I even had, I think it was with Schwab, with a bank, I forgot, but one of my accounts, this was after the fact. They said, oh, by the way, we did an audit or something, and we realized you're using a commercial address. We don't allow that. So I had to switch the address to my son's apartment. So number one tip, get all this stuff taken care of before you move. And kind of the second major tip is with the mail forwarding is if you have a family member, sibling, relative, good friend, and they will allow you to use their home address or their residential address, then do that. And a lot of people say, oh, don't bother them because you're going to get all this mail. You won't get that much mail. And if they do get mail, they can take a picture of it and send it to you, or they can scan it. If they have a scanner, they can scan it to you, say, hey, forward it to me, throw it away, keep it, hold on to it, whatever your situation is. But, a lot of people don't talk about these frustrating issues. So, again, number one tip, get everything taken care of before you move, everything you can think of. And if you use a commercial address, just be prepared in the future. There's a chance that they're going to flag it and say, oh, sorry, we're going to close your account unless you give us a residential address. It's frustrating, it's stupid, that's their policy. So anyway, if you got some enjoyment out of this video, you felt it helpful or informative in any way, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.